Buckle up, America, because we're diving headfirst into the twisted metal and rubber-burning world of trade wars. Remember Trump's 25% tariffs on imported cars and car parts? The ones that were supposed to bring back American manufacturing jobs? Well, it's complicated. The United Auto Workers are divided. President Shawn Fain supports tariffs to save jobs, but not everyone agrees. Some fear higher car prices and job losses. It's a classic case of be careful what you wish for. Are tariffs the cure or a wrench in the gears? Let's find out. Shawn Fain, the head honcho of the UAW, isn't afraid of a good fight. He sees tariffs as crucial for saving American manufacturing jobs. Free trade has driven jobs overseas. Tariffs aim to make American-made cars more competitive. But is it that simple? Critics say tariffs are a band-aid on a bullet wound. They might protect jobs short-term, but at what cost? Increased prices and potential trade wars are risks. Fain believes protecting jobs outweighs the risks. It's a bold gamble, and only time will tell if he's right. While Fain might be leading the charge for tariffs, a growing chorus of voices within the UAW itself is sounding the alarm. These are the workers on the front lines, the ones who build the cars and see firsthand the impact of these policies. And they're not convinced that tariffs are the answer. Their concerns are understandable. Tariffs on imported parts mean higher costs for manufacturers. Those higher costs could force companies to raise prices, making their cars less competitive and potentially leading to a drop in sales. And what happens when sales decline? You guessed it, production slowdowns, layoffs, and factory closures. It's a cruel irony. The very workers tariffs are supposed to protect could end up being the ones who suffer the most. The fear is palpable on factory floors across the country. Workers are worried about their jobs, their families, and their futures. The debate over tariffs has exposed a deep rift within the UAW, pitting worker against worker and creating a climate of uncertainty and anxiety. It's a stark reminder that trade policy isn't just about numbers on a spreadsheet, it's about real people's lives. Section 4. The Economic Crystal Ball. What do the experts say about tariffs? So, who's right? Are tariffs a magic bullet for the American auto industry, or are they an economic grenade waiting to explode? Well, if economists were fortune tellers, they'd be driving Maseratis instead of Toyotas. But alas, the future is murky, and the economic impact of tariffs is a subject of much debate. Some experts, often aligned with Trump's protectionist leanings, argue that tariffs are a necessary evil to protect American jobs and industries from unfair foreign competition. They point to historical examples where tariffs help nurture fledgling industries and argue that a little protectionism can go a long way. However, a growing number of economists, including those at institutions like Goldman Sachs, are singing a different tune. They warn that tariffs are a blunt instrument that can backfire spectacularly. They argue that tariffs raise prices for consumers, reduce demand, and ultimately hurt economic growth. Furthermore, they point out that tariffs can trigger retaliatory measures from other countries, leading to a downward spiral of protectionism and trade wars. History is littered with examples of trade wars that have damaged economies and hurt the very people they were supposed to help. Section 5. Volvo's warning when tariffs drive jobs across borders. Remember that whole tariffs will bring back jobs argument? Well, Volvo is here to throw some Swedish shade on that idea. The Swedish car maker, known for its safety and sensible designs, recently announced plans to lay off up to 800 workers in the United States. Why? You guessed it, tariffs. Volvo, like many other automakers, relies on a complex global supply chain for parts. Those tariffs on imported parts are adding up, increasing Volvo's production costs and making its cars less competitive. The result? Declining demand and a whole lot of uncertainty in the market. Volvo's decision to lay off American workers is a sobering reminder that tariffs can have the unintended consequence of driving jobs away, not bringing them back. This isn't just a Volvo problem either. Other automakers are feeling the heat from tariffs, and many are considering shifting production overseas to avoid the added costs. It seems the law of unintended consequences doesn't discriminate based on nationality. Section 6. The price of protection. Will workers pay for Trump's tariffs? Here's a fun fact. Car companies like to make money. Shocking, I know. But when tariffs increase their costs, they have a few options to maintain their profit margins. They can eat the costs, unlikely, raise prices for consumers, very likely, or find ways to cut costs elsewhere, even more likely. Guess what happens when companies need to cut costs? That's right, They look for ways to reduce labor costs, which usually means smaller profit-sharing checks, fewer bonuses, and in some cases, even wage cuts. So, while some workers might benefit from tariffs in the short term, many others could end up paying the price in the long run. It's a classic case of robbing Peter to pay Paul. The money to protect those manufacturing jobs has to come from somewhere, and it often ends up coming out of the pockets of the very workers tariffs are supposed to help. Talk about a raw deal. Moreover, higher prices for cars due to tariffs hit working-class families the hardest. They're the ones who rely on affordable, reliable transportation to get to work, school, and the grocery store. Tariffs create a ripple effect throughout the economy, and those ripples often end up swamping the little guy. Section 7. The Trade Tightrope: Navigating the Complexities of Global Economics. The debate over tariffs is a microcosm of the larger challenges facing the global economy. Globalization has created a complex web of interconnectedness, where goods, services, and capital flow freely across borders. This has led to unprecedented economic growth and lifted millions out of poverty. However, globalization has also created winners and losers. Manufacturing jobs have shifted to countries with lower labor costs, leaving many workers in developed countries behind. The challenge for policymakers is to find ways to harness the benefits of globalization while mitigating its negative consequences. Tariffs, however, are a blunt instrument in a world that requires surgical precision. They might offer a short-term fix, but they often create more problems than they solve. The real solution lies in investing in education, training, and infrastructure to create a more competitive and resilient workforce. It's about fostering innovation, promoting fair trade practices, and working collaboratively with other countries to create a more just and equitable global economic system. The path forward requires nuance, diplomacy, and a commitment to finding solutions that benefit everyone, not just a select few. It's a tightrope walk, but one that we must undertake together if we want to create a more prosperous and sustainable future.